Let's look at why should we listen. It's important. It can transform people's lives. It can make a huge difference to the people who you listen to. Somebody was a committed listener to me, they transformed my life. Somewhere I am committedly listening to people, I transform life. I'll tell you a story over here. It was during my leadership training days, and I had a friend of mine who was getting trained as a senior leader in that organization, and he had to go to USA. Now, his job was to go in different cities in USA to train and lead that particular program. So, first day he went, he did whatever work. At 5 o'clock his work ended. 5:30, I think. So 5:36 his work ended. And where he was staying, opposite to that, there was a bar. So in the evening side, he didn't know what to do. He stepped into the bar, and the bar was full at around 6:30. The bar was full, and he found one place, one table. There was one person sitting over there. So he went and asked that gentleman, can he sit on that table? So that gentleman said, okay, fine. He sat, had his drink. Maybe they had some conversation, casual conversation on the table. He left the place, left, went to 2, 3, 5, 6 cities where he wanted to his job. After about 15, 20 days or a month after that, he came back to the same place. And again at 6:30, he happened to reach the bar. Now, the moment this person reached the bar became suddenly silent. Now, this guy, being in an unknown place, a little bit, it was very eerie for that person to experience that kind of deathly silence the moment he stepped into the bar. And as he was entering, the bartender called him. He said, "Hey, guy, come here." Now he was further worried. Now, what had happened? Why is the bartender calling? So when he went to the bar, he said, "I think so. You come about 20 days, 20, 30 days back." He said, "Yes, what happened?" He says, he said, "What did you do to that guy sitting next to you?" Now this guy was really put off. He says, "What the hell did I do? I didn't do anything." He says, "No, that guy had been my permanent visitor till that day. He has stopped drinking after that day." Now, that's what listening can do to people. Let me give you the background of the story. The background is that the friend of my friend, was an Indian Army fighter pilot. And during one of his MiG sorties, he had a bird hit and he was supposed to eject, but he brought the MiG down. He lost one of his eye inside of that. And that's why he couldn't continue. And that's why he was getting trained as a leader. The person sitting that day on his table was a Vietnam War fighter pilot. Now, guys, I think so. You know that USA Army and USA people, USA, the Air Force pilots, the Army have gone through tremendous stress, and they had a very nasty experience about the Vietnam War. And probably earlier, what must have happened is that this guy wanted to vomit out so many things that he had seen during the war, and nobody was willing to listen to him. This guy, firstly, he had no background about who that person was. That was very important for us to remember. No background of the person who was sitting in front of him. And secondly, there was an instant rapport between each of them because both of them were fighter pilots. This guy committedly listened to him, and from that point onwards, that other friend of his never came and he drank. Now, this is not a made up story, this is a real life story. Listening transforms life, whether you believe it or you don't believe it. If you can transform people's life through just by listening to them, that is why it is called a gift. It requires conscious effort. It is not that you just can listen just because you have 2 ears. It does not mean that you listen. It requires certain skills to be developed. Unfortunately, listening is totally an internal skill, and it is very difficult to prove that you are listening. Only when you get the results that you are desiring from that person, the kind of feedback that you can get from that person, the kind of response that you can get from that person. That's when you can say that you made a conscious effort of listening to that person. And if you can transform that person through his listening, nothing like it. It shows, when I'm listening to people, it shows that you care for them. You are bothered about them. You really love them. That's what the gift of listening is. That's why it is so pretty important. And in today's world, we really have hardly any time for people. And that's why listening leaders are so important today in today's world. It shows that you care for them. WAIT is an acronym. It says, why am I talking? Remember, always wait and let the other person talk. It will help you in steering the conversation to a desired direction that you want to take the conversation to. So remember, this wait is, why am I talking? Always learn to wait and let the other person talk. When you listen to people, you'll suddenly see there is a certain excitement in them. They will start talking more and more and more, and they will tell you much deeper things than they have thought and planned about. That's the beauty of listening. You will get them excited. It's no way it is an easy task, because it's like, first of all, it is like muscle building. You don't build your muscle every suddenly. It is that hard, every day workout, hard pumping, uh, going through the grind of it. So it's not at all easy. No way is listening easy. And unfortunately, since it has no external things, it is completely internal, it becomes 10 times more difficult. We easily get distracted. So it's not an easy job. So you have to make that effort. It's as hard as doing that muscle building work. And it is as easy if you make a conscious choice. You have to stop thinking if you want to seriously listen to people. Thinking and listening don't go together, and neither can you do it. You can't think and listen. Either you're thinking or you're listening. So the best way is, when I am listening to somebody, I shut down my thinking completely. You'll say, how do you do it? Well, with practice, you will be able to do it, because we can't do two things at the same time. We can't do. And a person who is committed to listen will have to stop thinking. He will learn how to stop listening. There are ways and means how I can uh, listen to people. Now, there is one important thing, that our window of listening is very small. And in today's world, where the communication is so massively high in speed, this window is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. The window can be as small as 14 to 17 seconds. So you have to keep your listenings updated. If you are listening to somebody, and if you want other people to listen to you, you have to grab that attention, because their attention spans are very difficult, very small, 17 seconds. Okay. So remember this. And remember that listening leaders are the most valued leaders in today's world. They can make a huge difference to the organization, to the society, to the house, everywhere. Okay. So be a listening leader and be most valued in your organization.